call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. Let's go. All right, what's up, YouTube, and wherever else you may be watching this from or listening to it? How's everybody doing today? I see Jimmy Tux out there and Kelly. And why? Because why? Oh, why? Because weed, bro. Yeah, I see you.
You left that why hanging. Why
Yeah,
are we here? Why are we doing this?
right. So we've got something great for you today, and we're gonna eventually do a little giveaway thing later, but I'll talk about that as people start to come into the stream. Um, Welcome to the Kentucky Atheist. My name's Joe, and today I have author Barabbas Jones with me, who has wrote a really great book that I think that um, you guys would not only enjoy, but I think a lot of people would really benefit from this perspective on the Gospels and stuff. So we're going to be talking about the case against Jesus. Um,
Look at that
yep.
mirrorless screen. Awesome. You don't have to be dyslexic to read it.
How are you doing today, Barabbas?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, Joe? How's life
Do-
there in Ashland, Kentucky?
we're doing here. It's still very red and very young Earth creationist, but can't win them all, I guess.
We need to pit the young Earth creationists against the regular Earth creationists.
Yeah,
We should start the regular creationist sect or cult and get them to fight.
yeah. Well,
Divide and conquer.
I kind of say a lot that one of the things that the 40,000 denominations of Christianity have going for them is that they, when it comes down to somebody pushing back against Christianity, they'll take the Catholics and the Mormons and everybody else at that point. But if
Yeah,
you ask them what they think about the Catholics and Mormons and stuff, those people aren't Christians.
yeah.
Uh, but we actually, do you know who Kent Hovind is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I this past summer I organized and hosted the Ark Encounter protest in Williamstown, Kentucky, and with a lot of help from other people. I say I, but it was a bunch of us. But we Kent Hovind was supposed to make an appearance there, and we were going to try and get him and Ken Ham at each other, which would have been a great show.
Yeah. Ken Ham is always good for entertainment.
Yeah, Ken Ham's getting old, man.
Yeah.
He's
Just like the dinosaurs in the Ark exhibit.
Yeah, yeah, and if you listen to him, he's almost as old as he probably rode on those saddles that he put on them in there.
Yeah.
But hey, everybody coming in, I see you. I'm paying attention. Tori and Deviant and Equus. We will get into actually talking about this book and stuff here in a few minutes. I want to let everybody kind of wander in as we go here, so we're just kind of shooting the shit for a minute, which I'm sure you guys are okay with that. How's everybody doing today? Let me know in chat. So you just to start this off, and I know you talk about this in the book and stuff, but just to let everybody know where we're coming from. You're an atheist, been an atheist for a long time, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into the specifics of that in a few minutes, but or how you describe it in the book. But I just wanted to before it's asked because I know somebody would ask here in a minute. So answer that question at least for the few that have came in so far. But yeah, guys, we're gonna talk about this book and some of the stuff in it, and then we're going to give away a couple of these, maybe a few of these. I will. The channel will cover it and ship it to you. So if you do accept a book, you will have to talk to me behind the scenes and give me your shipping info and stuff. Just to be clear, I can't give you the book. Well, I mean, I guess we could do digital copies, and that way I could just send it to you. And plus, that's cheaper anyway. So that may be the way to go. Uh, I don't know. We'll figure it out later. Whatever you want, that's what we'll do. I don't care.
um, not to encourage people to obviously spend what you can, and if you can't afford it, that's fine too. But it is a lovely book. It just feels really good in your hand. It's really big print. It's a book.
Here, I'll show the Amazon listing for it. Uh, so you can buy this book on Amazon, and you can find it other places too. But you can also find it on thecaseagainstjesus.com, which is a website owned and ran by Barabbas, and you can get copies, digital copies of it over there as well. So,
Yeah, and they're only $5.
oh, uh,
So
it's going to say 6 in the chat.
okay.
But yeah, I will. I have to wait until 5. Well, it should start any minute. My bot should be joining the chat any second, and then we'll be able to post all those links so that you guys can click on them. Let me get to the thing here in this platform. Let's see what it does. My bot it takes some warming up on these cold days. It doesn't like to start right off. There it goes. Yeah, so you've got links rolling through. I don't know why I split that into two, but that's okay. It'll post them both at the same time. You've got links rolling through chat there of where you can find the book on Amazon and also on the other site, thecaseforjesus.com, or caseagainstjesus.com. Sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
don't get those two mixed up.
yeah, not the same thing. It says $6. It's actually $5 over there, guys. So my bad. Um, but it looks like we've got still kind of picking up people coming in and stuff. There's I don't know what else is going on as far as streaming right now, but I'm sure people will come in. We'll go ahead and for those of you that have been here waiting patiently and talking back and forth in chat, we'll go ahead and get into things. So
I have a suggestion. Maybe I could just read the blurb from the back of the book, which I think gives a good framing in terms of what the overall content and character of the book is.
sure, if you want to do that, that'd be great.
Right. So it's little bit small print, so I might look like I'm 80 years old, hunched over reading it. But so basically, the book's called Jesus Christ, by far the most overrated figure in history. And makes the case that Jesus Christ was a narcissistic, horrifically violent, spent much doing the opposite. He was also utterly indifferent to his fellow Jews' mass enslavement, crucifixions, and grinding poverty under the Roman occupation. Continuing on, his maniacal enthusiasm for condemning people to hell is less about anyone deserving it and more about him throwing a temper tantrum whenever his feelings were hurt. Much of what he says comes across as, "You just wait till I come back with my dad and his angels. Boy, are you guys going to be sorry." All right, still waiting. The best way to get through the tedium of reading the Gospels is to imagine Jesus as a spoiled 4-year-old who thinks he has divine powers. If he asked to pass the salt, he would no doubt do so with his favorite catchphrase: "Pass the salt, or else you'll be thrown outside into the darkness, where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Funny guy. Actually, here's a fun fact. A more accurate name for Jesus is actually Oily Josh, since Jesus in Hebrew is Yeshua, which translates to Joshua. Sorry, says Jesus in Hebrew is Yeshua, which translates to Joshua in English, and Christ, which means the anointed one. So I might be referring to him as Oily Josh, often as Junior, Dad Junior, Jeebus. There's a few others.
Yeah. Uh, The I like that the oily Josh thing. That's original. I like that.
I don't think it's original to me, but
Oh, I've never heard it.
one of those internet memes that you just go like, "Huh, all right, I could use that."
Yeah, that's one I haven't heard. Which I have a as far as like um, memes and stuff to do with Christianity and counter apologetics and stuff. I have thousands of them.
Right. Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, and some of that actually was stuff that I want to talk about. But to be clear, and this is in the book also, but I know that in our community here, the atheist community in this little corner of YouTube, that the that mythicism has been a thing and is really common about whether the historical Jesus is really a thing and should we believe that's true, and I know that we talk a lot about that, and this book does hit on that, but it's the point of this is not so much that as a like a reading of the Gospels and what they actually say, and how Jesus's character, even if you give that Jesus was this person or whatever, the character of Jesus is not a very nice guy. He's kind of a piece of shit in the Gospels, really, when you take the whole picture into account. And this book makes that case
Man,
in a really great way.
I can't believe you said that. You have any idea what you just said? Uh, yeah. I actually was gonna. So two of the chapters are "Asshole Jesus" and "Asshole Jesus Part 2." I was tempted to call the book "Asshole Jesus," but you know,
Maybe
decided to
too
keep my
divisive.
case against Jesus.
Yeah.
Not trying to convert anybody. It's not. I think from what I read, you can tell it's just. I just basically reread the Gospels. Was surprised that I didn't find really anything positive of note about either his character, his presentation as a deity, etc. In fact, was really sickened by so much of what he had to say and how little it's been interpreted relative to his views on the support of slavery, the support of the 1%, etc. And if you think about our present contemporary times, I would think most people in this chat and podcast would have the view of, that we should be helping people. There shouldn't be poor people. There shouldn't be people starving. There shouldn't be people without health care, a place to live, etc. Under the Roman occupation, you had horrific poverty, not just horrific poverty, but an occupation where thousands of people were crucified, where much of the population had been enslaved, where there had been rebellions. This was not any kind of peaceful place where people just went around spouting weird, a lot of bullshit, a lot of nonsense too. In the case of Jesus Christ, so one issue I have is that he didn't even comment, didn't do anything to address the conditions of his people, and also uh, didn't do anything personally. He didn't, step in any soup kitchens or help cook a meal. He was a tremendous misogynist. Um, sorry, we can find about. I'm sorry, I'm just bashing him again. It's fun though. You should, like, for those of you who are in states where marijuana is legal, get really stoned, read the Gospels, and they're a hoot. They're just so badly written. It's like they're just hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. The and
Not all of it, but some of it's funny.
right,
You can be
and I
objective and go, "What the what?"
we and on this channel especially, we talk a lot about the absurdity of some of the things in the Gospels and other parts of the Bible, of course, and the doctrine and dogma of Christianity. But this is it's really broke down here to where you're like you make the point or you show the actual verses in the book, and then you explain, this is Jesus doing this thing, telling everybody to go to hell and treating poor people awful, and being a misogynist. I mean, all.
Growing up as a Lutheran and being, indoctrinated, just thinking, yeah, well, first of all, I just everything just seems so like what? It took him 40 years to go like I looked it up. I was a really nerdy kid. I was really like really wanted to learn. I really wanted to understand. And so I looked up like how far it was from, the time the Israelites spent watering in the desert 40 years, and it's like I forget the exact um distance, but it's relatively short. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And same thing with Jesus. I just never was impressed with anything I read or heard about. And then like I just remember being 6 years old, and my the pastor teacher at the school I went to said, basically if you didn't believe, then you're going to go to hell. And all my brothers were older and definitely, heathens and mockers of Christianity, not overtly, but certainly by the standards of the day, we're not going to go to heaven. Certainly going to go to hell. And I just remember being just so terrified by that. Just absolutely the concept that most of my family was going to be punished for all eternity. I'm like,
Yeah,
what the f is up with this?
yeah,
I'm laughing now, but it's, I just think Christianity is really traumatizing.
yeah. No, and I agree, and I think you'll find a lot of that sentiment in this group. Um, the we make the case a lot of times of the tyrant God from the Old Testament, Yahweh, who like you mentioned, the walking in the desert for 40 years, like he they ask for food and he gives them poisonous snakes. They
I told you it was funny,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
uh,
It just
uh,
sounds like a sketch. Like,
oh, I know it's you hear it and you're like, you couldn't make up something so silly in many cases, but he this really, you make the case that Jesus, who's often described as, the good one, and the love your neighbor and all that stuff, continues that behavior. Whether or not, which, obviously we don't think he's actually in any way related to God that doesn't exist. So, but like, Jesus behaves a lot of times in the same way too, and you view a lot of this through the lens of the Roman occupation of the Jews and how that came to be. And like, Jesus, I think honestly, like one of the takeaways I took from it was that like Jesus was actually uh, working for the Romans most of the time,
yeah,
and doing their bidding.
yeah. There's really, I think one of the, and again, most Christians, we just have this superficial, superficial understanding of Christianity. Uh, when I say we, I mean collectively as a society, and certainly Christians are loath to go in any depth relative to, the Bible. But I think the hell does not exist in the Old Testament. There's no condemning. There's no, if you don't obey the Ten Commandments, you're going to be punished for all eternity. It doesn't exist. There's no mention of it. There's no concept. I've been told that it's the devil who's going to be punishing me. And one of the things before I read the Gospels, I was like, why would the devil subcontract out to his sworn enemy and punish people who basically are doing what the devil wants them to do, right? That's the way it's
Yeah,
set up. But no, it's like everything else. It's the dad god that created hell, and is responsible for the punishment. And frankly, if it does exist, I'd much rather hang out there with Satan than be in heaven. But seriously, all of you, if you have access to a free Bible, just read the Gospels and ask yourself, and just be objective. Again, like pretend you've never read them. Like, oh, I've heard a lot about things, and then just ask yourself whether you'd want to spend all eternity with Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Me,
No, no,
yeah,
thanks. Uh,
Yeah, thanks. So the Christian concept of hell, which I is the most heinous concept that you could come up with, the concept of, now they didn't come up with the concept of a soul, but this notion that you can be punished for your actions relative to this all-powerful God is, that's Christianity's bread and butter. It's not again, I think the only thing you need to know about Jesus Christ is that he says that if you don't believe him and follow him and leave your family, that you'll be punished for all eternity. I don't,
yeah,
that's where you don't, I didn't have to write a whole book. That's all you really need to know. And I think if anyone came up to you on the street and said, "Hey, you better follow me or I'm going to condemn you to eternal punishment," you'd be like, "Wow, you really are an asshole. That's really severe." And weirdly, and weird, even more weird, you apparently believe it.
yeah, and then go around shouting free will, like
Yeah,
you either burn in hell for an eternity or follow me, and like you have a choice, you know.
yeah.
But anyway, so on that line of thinking, you talk about numerous things where Jesus is shitty to poor people and to women and to his uh, community in general, like at large. Are there like what do you think were like some of the especially crude moments within the Gospels?
Well, thank you for asking. I should know this, shouldn't I? I think one of the most, perhaps the most shocking, was that his support, not just support, but his allegiance with the 1% and the Roman collaboration. Uh, I outline a number of stories and parables, but all of them, uh, I want to be careful. I believe all of them, if not all of them, 95% of them, are his audience is rich people. He's always talking about masters. He's always talking about servants. And the word servant should be the word slave because it's translated from the Greek doulos. And so essentially, when you read the Bible and you see him talking about like masters and servants, he's talking about masters and slaves. Here's how he views slaves in Luke 12:47. The slave who knows the master's will and does not get ready or does not do what the master wants will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. It's like, okay, in a 2025 Western society context, it's like, did he just say that? Did
Yeah,
someone, like, if even Donald Trump wouldn't say something that bad. Even Donald Trump wouldn't say, "Okay, you really should get the shit beat out of you if you're guilty." But if you didn't really know you're doing any better, you should still get the shit beat out of you, but not so bad.
yeah,
And again, note he's not talking from the perspective of the quote slave or servant. He's talking from the perspective of the master, and it's
yeah.
and that's the key term. And so, um,
He only tells the slaves to obey their masters. Yeah,
right, and let me just find another one. So here's the parable of the wedding banquet. And essentially, the parable of the wedding banquet, which I go into detail in the book, a master, a rich person, invites all these people, and nobody comes. So he throws a hissy fit and has his slaves go out and basically corral all the poor and indigent and fill up the house, and so he can say, "Wow, look how generous I am, and look at this and that." Of course, the slaves are not allowed to attend the feast. And then there's the most indigent or seemingly indigent of society are there, and so and this is a king, of course, and so not just a master, but a king, right? So just no problem with authority, no problem with hierarchy, a king, just to make clear, all right? No, like just Joe Blow, has some servants. It's like this is how the whole king runs his kingdom. So Matthew 22, chapter 22, verse 11. But when the king came in to see the guests, he noticed a man who was not wearing wedding clothes. So I guess like not wearing a suit. He asked, "How did you get in here without wedding clothes, friend?" The man was speechless. The man could have replied, "Well, your servants invited me, bitch." Uh, and then continue on. Then the king told the attendants, "Tie the man hand and foot and throw him outside into the darkness. Will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Dude, like everything is about throwing someone outside into the darkness. Will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So this guy, so he goes out of his way to invite people to his wedding who are clearly not, in a position to afford wedding clothes, or even probably know what wedding clothes are. Again, we're talking about horrific poverty, grinding poverty, slaves, crucifixions, mass killings in terms of the Roman occupation, etc. So this isn't just like somebody walked into a wedding wearing a hoodie and they weren't invited. This is someone who was invited, and then the king, who is Jesus, of course, throw him outside in the darkness. There was weeping and gnashing of teeth, and it's just like, what did this guy do? But it's not. But similarly to how many Americans view poor people now, it doesn't matter what someone did; it matters who they are. And this cementing of hierarchy, the cementing of obey your master, is at the heart of pretty much everything he does. I'm sure many people in the chat would be familiar that it's just incredible. I can't believe it. Some of the things that I'm saying is just like incredible that they would be in the Gospels, that anyone wouldn't challenge this as a major red flag, which is that Jesus tells parables in a confusing way so that few people understand, so that few people will be saved. And it's like, okay, dude, you're really going way out of your way, like just so out of your way to show that you're an asshole. Not just an asshole, but if you actually believe that this is a deity, then this is someone who just arbitrarily will condemn your soul to hell for all eternity, to be punished by the dad god, who apparently is also Jesus. We'll try not to go too far into that, but it's some
Yeah.
weird shit, man. That's
Yeah, no, I think that
this religion makes no sense, no
no,
sense whatsoever.
no, it's like uh and obviously I'm going to leave out a lot of context here, but it's like they talk Jesus talks about belief in the unseen and all that stuff, and says, well, I'm not going to show you any reason that you should follow me, and whenever I explain why you should follow me, I'm going to do my best to confuse you, but if you don't, you're going to burn in hell for an eternity. Like,
Yeah,
but I love you, you
yeah,
know.
but I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and yeah, I've just always astounded and have always been astounded, but even acquiescing to something bigger, i.e., Junior, aka Oily Josh, aka Jeebus. I forget what his real Jesus Christ, I think. Is that what we're talking about? So I just want to read about how he sent his disciples to towns to quote unquote preach the gospel. I don't even know what the gospel was then when he was alive. I guess that like most of you are going to go to hell, but some of you are going to go to heaven. Woohoo. But here's one where he says, so I think this is the only verse you really need to understand Christianity. Mark 16 verses 15 to 16. Jesus said to them, the disciples, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned." It's like, okay, like, all right, that's great. So, wow, that's really I where do I sign up? This Christianity thing is really more appealing to me.
that
And
sounds
then
great.
yeah, it sounds great, but it gets better. In case you're like, well, what did he mean by that? In Matthew 11, verses 20 to 24, I write, his thirst for vengeance and retribution against non believers is seemingly unquenchable. Here's a direct quote, Matthew 11:20, and continuing. Then Jesus began to denounce the towns in which most of his miracles had been performed because they did not repent. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethesda. Anyway. For if the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you, it would be more bearable for Tyre and Sidon on the day of judgment than for you. In other words, so I go and commit do some miracles. You don't believe that I'm God, so I'm going to show you I'm God by punishing all of you, everyone who lives in the town, regardless of the fact that probably only a few people actually rejected him. So that's what I call JJ, Jesus Justice. And again, it's just the prevailing, it's a prevailing message right through everything that happens in the Gospels,
Yeah,
everything that he says. And I only focus on documented occurrences. So,
right.
for example, if you count the miracles, and scholars agree that he committed roughly 37 documented miracles. Roughly five of them are party tricks like walking on water, turning water into wine, etc. So let's just be generous and say he committed. So it's like, well, they are. I don't want to suggest they're crimes because they're all fictional. So how could they be? But let's say he did 36 miracles over the course of his documented miracles over the course of his ministry, which was 3 years. Talk about lazy, 3 years. Speaking of lazy, 36 miracles over 3 years, so one a month. Like he's just astounding. He is so lazy. He is just like he absolutely does nothing. He's like a 4-year-old if he doesn't have his disciples to do something. He can't. Basically, he can barely function. His main thing is he just loses his shit, throws hissy fits, and condemns people to hell. And that's on a good day. That's when he's kind of like feeling okay.
Yeah. I often, and I didn't coin this phrase, but I often use the phrase when I'm talking about modern Christianity and some of the bad things that they do. I'll often say there's no hate like Christian love.
Yeah,
And I think that you really build the case of like, they are like trying to mimic Jesus in many ways. And that's how Jesus behaved. Like he was, he wasn't the guy that they say he was, but they behaved the way that he really was, and
yeah.
it's really given me a different perspective on some of that, and I find it really interesting, especially like I mean, you really about everything Jesus does in the Gospels it ends up being pretty bad, really, whenever you take it into the full context of what's going on.
Yeah, and I just want to say I didn't pick and choose. Like this is I didn't list obviously every single thing, and in part because I didn't need to, because the Gospels famously tell the same stories 4 different times in slightly different ways. So there's a lot of repetition. But I didn't pick and choose. I didn't, just grab low hanging fruit. I really wanted it to be more. I wanted it to be more balanced in the sense that there was something to emulate, something to admire about him. But really, whether it's just as a regular person, how he conducts himself with other people, or whether you view him, as a deity, he's just not attractive. Just really, and it's so badly written. Um, and it kind of my take is that when most common people couldn't read back then, so it didn't make any difference. Um, and obviously the selection of texts, etc., were such that I think it was mainly to like, hey, you better, here's the good side. You follow this guy who's also conveniently the emperor, which happened obviously later in Roman times, not too much later. Then everything's great. If you don't, you'll not only go to hell, but we'll also kill you slowly and torture you in this life. It's a great religion. It really is. I just really admire it.
All right. Yeah, yeah. No, I think that it's it's quite a mess, and but that's the thing with like a lot of the Christian claims and doctrine and stuff is it's fine on the surface. Like if you just take the like some of the quotes from Jesus, it's fine, but whenever you add a little scrutiny and start really looking into it, like it's not, but that's not what they do, and Jesus is quoted within the Gospels as saying some things that on first glance sound great. love thy neighbor as thyself, and turn the other cheek. But he also says an eye for an eye, but whatever, like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's yeah, but his actions are quite different. And there's lots of that, lots and lots of it. Let me pull up my notes for a second here. Um,
So it's just while you're looking, I just want to make a quick comment on, people say that Jesus said, to give, give money to the poor, or, take care of the poor. He said in a number of instances, he told rich people to give all their money to the poor and follow me. In other words, it's just Colt 101, completely disempowering yourself. Give me all the things that would make you have the ability to be independent. um, Give all that. And when he says give to the poor, I think he means give to me, and then we'll facilitate on behalf of the poor, um, which is interesting. Probably not worth going into, but the disciples in various times in the Bible are portrayed as having, monetary means, i.e., presumably they've collected money for the poor. It's not entirely clear what the money is for, but at times it's obvious they have some financial means. Um, anyway, so again, disempowering yourself, give all your money to the poor and follow me. Something he didn't do. And again, he didn't, as apart from feeding the ludicrous parable or miracle of the feeding of the 5,000, he didn't feed anybody. He didn't help anybody. Now, you could say the miracles where he healed people, helped people, but and I won't argue that per se, apart from the fact that obviously they're not, they're fictional. But anyway, I back to what you're looking at, Joe. Look,
um, there's at one point, you talk about where the verse where Jesus talks about he wants everyone to like him. He has these insecurities, and he's telling people, you have to love me and my Father,
yeah,
or you're going to burn in hell. And you say that he needs a psychiatrist, and I mean, you don't really think about that when you read it, like with whenever you take into account all the indoctrination and stuff and everything hitting you about um the overwhelming people saying Jesus is this. So you don't really think of what that really entails, and it's right there for you to see. But I think you do a good job of painting the picture and giving it that kind of ridicule attitude that it really deserves. So I really liked that piece of it, though.
yeah. You'd be surprised at how many people don't enjoy Jesus being ridiculed.
Yeah, right.
It's you really got to pick the right crowd.
You want to come hang out in Kentucky and we can go do it?
I told you I'm from Indiana. You're the
Oh, that's
Kentucky
right. Yeah,
Hades. I'm the Hoosier heathen.
yeah, yeah.
There's no safety crossing that river for either one of us.
I've got a lot of atheist friends in the Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky tri-state area, and then in Indiana as well. Several friends out that way, and we trade stories a lot. I'm getting ready Monday to cover a bunch of crimes and stuff by World Harvest Church from Columbus, Ohio, and a lot of people from Indiana and Ohio in that area have experience with that. So I'll be talking to some of your fellow Hoosier people here pretty soon. But yeah. Uh, anyway, that's a whole other thing. We're not going to get into that right now. But yeah, this area, like I would say that Indiana is probably uh, closer to being a lot of the same as we experience here in Kentucky.
Yeah,
It's probably our closest.
especially in southern Indiana, which
Yeah,
was, lack of a word, founded by people from Kentucky.
yeah,
So, it's very similar. Northern Indiana is a bit more. I think southern Indiana is a bit more the South, and northern Indiana is a bit more of traditional Midwest.
yeah.
Exciting, exciting. two best places to pick from.
Yeah. The one of the in this space, a well-known Hoosier fellow Hoosier, um, DJ Oz, who a lot of us know and stuff, and Jenna. They're from Indiana, and so, tell a lot of stories about stuff there. And um, and my former co-host on this show was also from Indiana. So, and I gave him the honorary Kentucky Atheist badge for a little while, but I had to take it back. He was an asshole.
Uh,
uh,
I'll have to
but
get a Hoosier Heathen badge.
so you and I have a mutual friend, and a lot of people will know this guy, David Fitzgerald, is how we kind of got introduced, and he speaks really highly of you and your book as well. And I think that I really encourage my audience, and if you're interested, because I'm going to look for the people who really want this book first, obviously. If you're really interested
What
in
are you
this
gonna?
book,
You got to go like door to door, or maybe
if I have to, I
hang
will. I mean, I think it's a
like
good book, man. I really do. I think
hang
that
out
people,
hang out on the church steps as they're coming out.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. It's probably not going to work here. Everybody's packing in church here. uh,
Hey, I was happy for you to do it. I'm not doing it.
right. Uh, I mean, no, for real. Like, I've read lots and lots of books in this space, from lots of big authors and new authors and small authors, and I've read some bad ones, and I'll tell you, like, honestly, if it's like, well, I would have liked it to have been this and stuff, and I think that this community would really benefit from this, because while we already hold that perspective of we should kind of ridicule some of the ideas and the absurdities within Christianity, this gives you those details in a lot of ways. Like, you point out many of the absurdities and many of the awful things that are there, and you do it in a way that is funny. I mean, like, I laughed on several pages of this book, and I really think people would benefit. So, for you guys in the audience, if you're really interested in reading this, just tag me in chat, and I'll go back through those. And like I said, I'm going to give away some of these books today. Probably digital copies. If you would prefer to have a physical copy, let me know, and I'll make sure you get a physical copy. But I will purchase these from Barabbas and get them to you. So just let me know. And we'll do a special thing for members too. But we'll get into that later. Members, you know who you are. Anyway.
Wait, there's a members club. This sounds a lot like church. So you know who you are.
Yeah.
You get a special discount.
So
Sounds a bit elitist to me.
so the
Sounds a
members
bit like
here.
heaven and hell. We're members of the member club. Where'd you go? Come back. I'm sorry. That was very gentle teasing.
Yeah. So I do member streams for channel members and stuff, and for like people who want to support my channel and what I do financially. You can join for like 99 cents, and there's also like gifting options and stuff like that. And during my member streams, we get a lot more wild because we're not restricted by like YouTube monitoring us, so we can say what we want pretty much, and um, it's a lot more uncensored. Whereas a lot of times I have to watch my words. I cuss like a sailor, man, and so I have to be careful here. But in there I don't. And we talk about we're able to. It's not that it's an exclusive club so much as it's a place where we can talk about things very openly and uncensored, and it doesn't have to be topics of religion. We talk about all kinds of stuff here. Um, we have a good time here. We really do.
All
For
right.
my channel too, there must be another big stream going on right now, the line or something. But for my channel to be like the size it is on YouTube, um, my live streams and stuff do pretty well. I mean,
Nice.
I compete with channels that are like 10 times the size of mine. So, it's we have fun though, for real. And I try to. I see you, Kelly. I try to. I try to talk about these things to atheists, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's one thing whenever you're sitting and you're like, well, this is the counter apologetics, and this is why you shouldn't believe these things, and this is why this is wrong. But most of my audience tends to know a lot of those things. So and I mean, honestly, on a lot of topics, they're way more informed than me. A lot of times they're backing me up. So it's it's really an interesting dynamic the way that I do things here, and it's a lot of fun though because I try to take the atheist community where they're at. Like my channel isn't
Yeah.
all about debating Christians or arguing about most of the time we don't even bring up God and stuff. We talk about what atheists are doing and how we're trying to improve things for us, and we talk about some of the dangers and the harmful things that like the government's trying to do to the LGBTQ community, which is a big part of the atheist community as well. So um, we do a lot of cool things here, but yeah, it's fun.
Nice.
Except for when it's not. And sorry guys,
Well,
sometimes I know the other day it wasn't as fun, but we had to
it's
we had to
always
do
fun until it's not.
we we had to do it, guys. Um, but yeah, the I always refer to Christianity as this exclusive club, and that there's they they want to make it an exclusive club for the whole purpose of being able to point at the other people and say you're not in it and you're going to hell. Like
Yeah.
uh, which is very much what Jesus does.
Yeah, exactly. And he's not subtle. Uh,
No, no.
yeah, the other, some other key things. I, yeah, I think what I would say there's unique things about the book. It's again his connection, his slavish worship of the 1%, his unapologetic, entrenchment with them. The interesting thing is that he's not. It's really hard to say what he is because they're so badly written. But clearly he has access because he just, as I highlight in the book, his superpower is cadging free meals. He's just constantly like walking up to someone and saying, "Oh, hello, friend. Today, I will be dining at your house." It's like, okay, I
I
guess.
think there's
Let,
a
let me guess. Let me guess. If I don't feed you, I go to hell. Okay, I guess. What do we
I
got?
think there's a psychology thing going on there. The I think that, and I think it has to do with like the Roman occupation, that the times that the Jews were able to uh, really talk with each other and stuff were during these important meals and stuff, because the Romans kind of left them alone to observe their religious stuff more than other things. And but I think that motif isn't unique to the Bible either, though. I think
Right, but we're not. We're talking about someone very specific. The central figure in Christianity relative to how he conducted himself in the
Oh,
Christian
oh, no,
Bible.
no, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's weird how he's always, here's your fish, but he's always,
Yeah,
it's always around like the whole story in the Gospels surrounds the Passover, right? It's all,
yeah,
whether it's before or after, you don't know, but it depends on which one you read. But the
yeah.
but this, yeah, that thing about meals comes up a lot, and you'll eat with me and eat of my flesh, drink of my blood, and it keeps coming up.
And he keeps dining again. It's just obviously there are millions of Bible commentaries, etc. I did my best to just read this as if I'd never heard of Jesus Christ or Christianity, and just read it objectively, um, and which is it's it's funny in places, but overall, fortunately, they're very very short, and they're very repetitious, but they're not. It's not a good read. Um, so I wanted to share one example of him just being like, what the hell is going on? So he and sounds like I'm gonna do a joke about two guys going to a bar. Peter and Jesus are going to a temple, and there's a fee, like a 5 coin fee to get into the temple. So and they and just like, oh well, I really shouldn't have to pay, but I guess let's not make offense. So, we'll pay. And he says to Peter, go down to the lake and catch a fish. And in the fish's mouth there'll be a 5 coin, a coin worth the price of admittance. And so apparently Peter goes home, gets his fishing gear, goes down to the lake, throws in a bobber and bait, catches the fish, guts the fish, gets the coin, comes back, and you're just like what? Jesus, what in the world? Like, what? So, what are we supposed to take away from this story? Like, what positive aspect, in terms of being a better person, in terms of being a better Christian, in terms of being a better follower of Christ, etc., are we supposed to take from that story? It's just like, okay, I can be a colossal asshole, and I will be because I can. Which is what I say about a lot of the things that he does in the Gospels. I'm just like, why? Because he can, because he's Jesus,
Yeah.
4 year old, 4 year old who thinks he has divine powers. Um, One other, just again, just asshole Jesus story. One of the his miracles, documented miracles, is there was a blind man who comes to him, and Jesus takes dust, dirt, and spits into it, makes it into kind of a cake, puts it on the guy's eyes, right, which would have to hurt, right? I mean, on his eyes, and then he tells he tells him to go wash in a specific pool, which is on the other side of Jerusalem. So he tells the blind man that, so it's not enough the guy is blind, has to go to this temple. He's got his eyes caked with mud, and he's got to go, all the way to this other side of Jerusalem. Goes in the pool. People are probably like, "Yuck! Is that spit?" Like, yuck! You know, um, Washes his eyes and is able to see. And again, it's like, okay, did what possible aspect of Jesus being a deity or being just a decent person or anyone to admire is inherent, is captured in that story. You're just like, you're just astounded, like the callousness, just the sheer, like, just fucking with people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you that's another one of those things, because when you think about it, it's like he's Jesus. He has the ability to just heal you. However, he could make you do anything, and then it's like he makes them do the most, like, just obtuse and difficult way to, like, do it,
Yeah,
and it's almost like, oh
and
sure, I'll help
humiliating.
you, I'll
Yeah,
help you, but first we're going to watch you do this stupid thing that I'm going to make you
yeah.
do.
And a great number of his miracles are testaments of faith, where someone will ask him, like, please heal my son, daughter, whoever, and Jesus will say, oh, anything is possible if you have faith. So it's all about, like, it's very similar to Trump. It's all about loyalty and kissing his ass and basically showing to Jesus that you have enough faith to believe that he can cure your child. So he doesn't do it, and I think this is a key thing. He doesn't seem to do anything because it's the right thing to do. He does it because it's transactional. So he does
Right.
it as a means of showing that you will be punished. He does it as a means of showing a threat to what will happen if you don't obey him and follow him, and etc. And so it just, I really wish that people have read the book. I have said that uh, I think, sorry, people have read the book, have said that I, in general, they thought I was, the word balance doesn't come into it because, again, it's like there's not much positive to say about him, and in the Gospels, the people who are saying the most negative things about him are his family, are often his disciples. His disciples have no idea what's going on. None. Not the slightest clue. You read the ludicrous resurrection story, they're just absolutely clueless. They all abandon him, they betray him. And I'm like, these are people who knew him. These are people who were, in his club, in his immediate club, who allegedly worshipped him and recognized his divinity. And even they were completely, they didn't believe it at the end. And again, I'm like, why, how did this character of Jesus Christ is presented in the Gospels? How did he ever, this is like the greatest sales job ever. I think Christianity for the most part was, inflicted through trauma, through wars and um, attacks, etc., pogroms. But I think that in a modern sense in the United States, it's just the fact that Jesus has such a sway on so many Americans is because they've been indoctrinated not just by Christianity, but by the broader society. And obviously there are people spending billions of dollars to influence Americans to be more conservative and more heartless, you know, and so those corporations and entities can become richer because it's like, watch over here while I'm doing what, don't watch over here. Probably couldn't
Yeah,
see that because the arms can't get in the camera. You get the gist though.
yeah, yeah. Very, no, I agree very much so. I think that modern Christianity, especially the Christian nationalist movement, tends to they they put a whole lot in this. Well, our Christian forefathers, and incorrectly talking about the founding of the country and all that stuff. But uh, I think that those Christians that they often refer to would not even recognize, other than the Jesus figure, recognize modern Christianity, and wouldn't accept modern Christianity. It's more recent that it kind of switched to the John version of the Gospels, and the way that they behave now. I don't think Christians in the past would even agree with that, but it's my opinion completely. You
Sorry,
read the chat; they're
I'm
hilarious,
reading
aren't they?
from the chat. It's like Jesus said just hawk Tua on that thing.
Yeah,
Jesus hawk Tua moment.
yeah, yeah. They're having a blast over there. But
A blast, but that, it might be a blast and funny to you, but blast is short for blasphemy. Just saying.
the um, yeah,
Jesus Jesus has joined the chat. Sorry for the snort.
no. It's we love it here. So yeah, everybody that's coming in and stuff. I see we've switched out a few people here and stuff. A lot of people going back and forth. If you're interested in reading this book, tag me in chat or something, and I'm gonna give away as many of them as I can afford to cover for you guys. Um, a handful of them or whatever. But yeah, just let me know, and I'll try my best to hook some of you guys up. If you're interested in going and purchasing a copy of the book, you can go check out thecaseagainstjesus.com, and that's Barabbas site, and you can get a digital copy there for $5. It's going to say $6 rolling through chat here in a second, but it's available on Amazon and most other places you would go look for books, and they have it in multiple forms on Amazon as well. You can get a Kindle version or whatever, but I really recommend this book to you guys. It's good, and it gives you. I know that we most of us would already agree on the position that's being put forward here, but there's a lot of things that happen that I didn't really. There's extra stuff that I didn't think about that also fits into that, and I think that um, for especially for a lot of us that talk to some of these apologists and stuff and deal with them coming around this community saying whatever. Um, I think that this would like kind of strengthen your position dealing with, especially some of the presuppositionalists. And for my friends out there, I've seen Jimmy Tux and a couple others running through chat. For my problem of deception friends, this adds right into that, and I think is perfect.
Problem of deception, friends.
Yeah. So
You have a group of friends labeled problems of deception.
I do now. The so there's this. I deal a lot with young Earth creationists because that's my experience growing up here. I was a young Earth creationist up until I was about 25 years old and in college, and eventually got some science in front of me instead of religion and started questioning things and blah blah blah. But the presupposition crowd, which is generally young Earth creationists, the fundamentalists, they there's this problem of like deception is built into Christianity and religion. Yahweh, from the very beginning, deceives man, and later it talks about Satan. Well, it's not Satan in the Old Testament, but it talks about the devil masquerading as an angel of light and being able to fool even the elect. And so, whenever you view the actions of Jesus through that lens, you can't argue, you don't have the argument to say that it's not actually the devil doing those things. And because of all these bad things that, like the bad behavior of Jesus, and now we're talking about it here, it's just more things to add into that argument. And I know I know it's silly,
And
but it's if we give that your supernatural things are true, it's a presuppositional buster argument, is what it is.
sure, and one thing that really you're just at some point you're just really not surprised any anymore. But I remember reading, and I just reread the Gospels. They're very short, and the famous story where he goes into the wilderness and the devil Satan, tempts him, and and it's portrayed. I think most of us would identify that as being portrayed in the Bible as sort of an ordeal for Jesus. He's fasting, he's in the wilderness. Um, so anyone have a take on whether he was actually suffering or not? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, and angels attended him. So angels came and like basically held his hand while he was out in the woods. Probably gave him constructed an air conditioned tent. Um, Undoubtedly a full course meal. It was going to pass up going hungry. So yeah, and similarly when he's praying right before, he's just like, so right before he's gonna, he's in the Garden of Gethsemane and he steps away from the disciples to pray, and of course somehow, despite no one else being there, it's recorded what he actually prayed and said, which is really interesting. But uh, angels attended him then, you know, to lessen his burden. And it's just like the guy that guy is just so pathetic. He's just so pathetic. As is the dad God is presented in the Old Testament as like creates the world, fucks it up, does the flood. They're still evil. He's got to like it's got all right. I'm gonna create hell and I'm gonna send everyone to hell. Oh, okay, but if you believe this nonsense story about my son who is also me, I'll spare you. It's like they're just the biggest losers. They're just such they're just so inept and so pathetic, which is interesting. Like if I was writing a all-powerful narrative to prove my point that my God was the only God that existed, man, I'd write a lot better book
Yeah,
than
yeah,
which is where indoctrination, and it doesn't really matter, right?
right.
It doesn't really matter what's in the book if you're indoctrinated into believing that this is not just your belief system but your life. Going to church, being part of the church, being part of the community that identifies with the church, identifies with being against LGBTQ, identifies against the government, etc. So, um, and I think that Jesus did not. There's nothing in that in the New Testament, there's nothing in the Gospels about Jesus saying boo, doing anything about the suffering of his people. And again, the only time he actually, and again, there are miracles, he healed people, but again, like, the story I related about the mud pack and that blind person, there's all sorts of other miracles where he's basically like, the disciples ask him, "Oh, why is this person blind? Is it because of something his parents did? They sinned, etc." And Jesus says, "No, it's for the glory of God. So everyone will know the glory of God when I heal him." Well, that's okay. I'll be blind most of your life just for the sole purpose of existing so Jesus can come and heal you. Not again because it's the right thing to do, not because he has divine power and can use it to actually do something positive, but no, so people will know that he's God. It's all about everything is about proving that he's God, and when people
Yeah.
don't believe it, they're going straight to hell.
Yeah, I think it's, and you mentioned this verse in there, but um, I think that it's interesting that Jesus he doesn't say you should love me the most or you should follow me,
There's
because
innumerable
me.
other ones.
Yeah, he it's, I mean, he doesn't say, because it's weird the way that is worded to me, because like he's not just saying, "Oh, you should love me more than your family." He's saying, "No, love me but hate your family." He
Yeah.
specifically says hate, and I think that that's really like weird in the Bible. But whenever you look at the totality, in the book, The Case Against Jesus, the you 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 paint the picture of, no, that's status quo. That's what Jesus does. He
Yeah.
is very much an asshole to everybody, and you know.
And forget what I was going to say. Anyway, moving right along.
Sorry, sorry, I rambled through something and
No, no, no.
lost you.
Okay.
uh, we do that every now and then here. um, but so this this book's been out for about a year now, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Uh huh.
Okay. The I mean, obviously, when you wrote this, you put in there that you talked to specific people about some of the translations and some of the various verses and stuff and everything. How if you don't mind me asking, I guess, how big of a process was it, like, really going through and analyzing this, or was it just like just wrote down what you thought on each one?
It was super easy. There's some things that I did require research, like understanding when you so I used the verses from the New International Version of the Bible because that's the most popular, common translation of the Bible used by U.S. evangelicals. I also, if it's a famous verse, I try to use the King James version, so just to
Yeah,
make sure that it's the same verse. And also, there are other versions which have different translations. So the word doulos is translated into slave. Um, so in those instances, that was helpful. But in general, all I did was read it, and comment. Again, I think the important thing, and sometimes in the atheist community, we get bogged down with in the nitty gritty and experts and what this specific thing in the Old Testament at this time, etc., means. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to. I don't present myself as any kind of expert. I'm just basically a well-read person who read, four short chapters and commented on them. And I think that's important because often we feel disempowered to, comment or understand or feel like we have a perspective that's worth voicing. To me, the overwhelming thing about Christianity is just, I think strategically, is to mock it
yeah,
because it doesn't deserve respect. And when I say that, I mean, again, like having read the Gospels and what we've been talking about, the 99% of the Gospels are just ludicrous or really, really just so mean for no reason, and so they don't deserve respect. They don't deserve analysis in a serious way. I mean, I took it seriously. I read them very seriously. I tried to comment and explain my views, but they're just basically what I think any common sense person would say if they read these verses and parables and stories and sayings objectively, like without any filter. Same thing with the Quran or any other book.
Yeah. So, what's up, Dade? Good to see you. He said his bro in a bus. You wanna tell him about that? The converted bus. Uh,
Me?
yeah, yeah. He
Oh,
someone asked in chat if you're on a bus.
oh yeah. I'm in a converted school bus.
Yeah,
I'm traveling around. I'm in Mendocino, California. If the bus was turned around, you'd have a view of the ocean, although it's a little cloudy, rainy and cloudy today.
yeah, yeah.
The 20
Um,
foot converted school bus, shorty.
and Maya Atkinson, how are you doing today, Miss Maya? The Is he a mythicist? So I think that he would agree with the mythicist position, but I know that the title of the book, because I said this earlier, um, I know that the title of the book would, because of all the mythicist stuff that's going around right now, would you lead you to believe that. But this book is more about the character of Jesus and the behavior, and how he's not the nice person that he's always laid out to be, the loving God. That most of the things he does are horrible towards slaves and the poor, and he's kind of he's all for the 1% and the rich people, and treating everybody else like shit, including his own people.
Yeah.
And It's done in kind of a humorous way. It's Barabbas takes an objective look at it, and then gives his take on those things. And there's lots and lots of verses and different things about the Bible laid out in there. But he does also address, historical Jesus and all that briefly in the book. So not a mythicist book specifically, but adjacent, I would say.
Yeah. I Joe and I had a chat about this before. I don't um again, my take is a little bit more. I don't want to be disrespectful of the fine work that's been done in terms of addressing mythicism, and certainly one of my favorite books is Nailed by our mutual friend David Fitzgerald. In part because it's such a great title, Nailed.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the myth. I don't. To me, it doesn't make a lot of difference. To me, to me, it's very obvious there was no person Jesus Christ who existed at that time, because obviously the things he did were not capable of being done by a human being. So in terms of the miracles, etc. But maybe. But there were lots of people. There are lots of characters that were given credit for doing miracles. There are lots of prophets, wandering around. I find that his story is so incomplete and so disjointed that you know maybe based on a real person, but again, I don't think it really matters. Like
I don't
um,
either.
it's like, was Harry Potter based on a real person? Okay,
Yeah.
well, maybe. And I hate. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone there. I do like the book, don't like the writer. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I know.
and you could say, well, J.K. Rowling knew this little boy who had those glasses and had that scar, and kind of, it's like, okay, but fictional, what, does it really make any difference? So, but again, I think that it's a fascinating thing, and I do address a number of um, the the miracle workers, or the mythology surrounding Jesus. He wasn't the only person. Again, I think it's really important to understand that was a common thing at that time, for people, and I'm going to say claim to be doing miracles, and there are countless temples throughout the ancient world to these alleged characters and gods, and there are no temples. No temples built at that time, to Jesus. And interestingly enough, a lot of the temples I'm referring to are like maybe healing waters, temples of healing, etc. Of course, Jesus really didn't leave anything in posterity to help people in their daily lives, apart from the never gets old charm of "do what I say, believe in me, or I'll send you to hell for all eternity," which apparently gives a lot of people comfort. I personally don't find it very comforting.
No, no, it's a popular idea too in the atheist community. Like, yeah, that's not very comforting. And then the idea of heaven really isn't either.
Yeah.
Although Jesus doesn't really speak about heaven too often.
No, no. And it's like, okay, so you're going to be up there, and but what for all eternity?
Holy,
Like,
holy, holy, all day
well,
long.
I really wouldn't want to spend eternity with Junior.
Yeah, yeah, no.
I'm sorry, I was
Uh,
being disrespectful, oily Josh.
Oily Josh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Jeebus.
Yeah. The yeah, the a lot of the different I guess motifs is the word in the New Testament, as far as like the tomb and the rising after 3 days and the immaculate conception and a lot of the really important things to the New Testament and the historical Jesus narrative are not at all unique. I mean, like during that time, there's in that area specifically, there's all kinds of people writing the same thing, and those like the empty tomb is not. I mean, I know that it's in the Bible; it explains it a certain way, but there's a reason for that, like within literature at that time, and it can all be explained. Through that, like contemporary literature of the time, this is very much how they were writing and what
Sure.
they were doing.
But I just want to emphasize that you don't have to be familiar with other literature from that time. Uh,
No,
So I wrote, I don't know if it was a whole chapter, but about the resurrection, which is supposed to be the most important story in the Bible, and it's told for in each gospel it's told a different way.
yeah,
And
no, nobody agrees.
it just reads like the Keystone Cops. It's just like, okay, really?
That
Like,
they don't even know what day it happened
they
on.
don't.
I mean,
They're just
yeah,
his
there's
dad,
like this.
his
The
disciples abandon him, and then Mary Magdalene, in one version, finds him, and he's like, "Oh, go tell you use the only thing you girls are good for is go tell the disciples to meet me at this place, which is like a 2 day walk." And yeah, and so I think what's the line? Oh yeah, sorry, you girls are useless, but Eve ate an apple.
the
I just
yeah,
again
yeah,
like the whole thing about I really feel it's effective, and obviously it's what I've decided to do, is to take that step back and not engage with anything about Christianity. Just like the whole thing is ludicrous. The Earth
yeah,
isn't 6,000 years old.
yeah.
The creation story is just stupid.
It is.
It's stupid.
It,
I was 10 years old when I first read the Bible and I so wanted to understand because it made no sense. It's like, okay, there's Adam and Eve. They have two sons. And then one of the sons kills the other son. And then he goes and lives in a whole nother city. Like, where the fuck
yeah,
did the city come from?
yeah.
And also,
The land of
and
Nod.
that fundamental question of like, so the human population was created from incest, which
Yep.
again, it's like a really sensible question, which I'm sure many people here would be familiar with. Never gets a straight answer, and if your child gets you, usually some form of punishment or
Yeah.
at least chastisement.
We had for the art protest thing, we had this big vinyl sign that was made that said "Incest and Genocide Park" or "Genocide and Incest Park."
Right.
Uh, yeah, rather than the Ark Park, and it was this great big sign that we hung up and then took right up to the gates of the Ark Encounter. Actually, during that, yeah, those things are absurd. The often what I end up engaging in as far as like young Earth creationists, like I've debated Ken Hovind a couple of times, and some of his sycophants have challenged me to debates and stuff, and I don't really go looking for that. But generally, the reason that they're wanting to speak to me is because they want to bitch about science and misrepresent science, and so that part kind of bothers me. I could care less about their,
Right.
shit,
But
but
and so that's just my take. Is that what difference does it make? So whether evolution is, and obviously evolution is true, but whether evolution is true has nothing to do with the veracity of the Bible.
oh no, no, you're exactly right, and
So
that's the
that's
point
why
I'm
I'm
making.
so yeah. Anyway, so I'm always like, I often find when I some of these some of the more famous debates, like I don't know, it's just a difficult thing to do because we want to engage and we want to, but it's very difficult when it's almost like you get into their territory if you get into anything about the Bible. It's almost like arguing about its validity gives it validity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Christians.
yeah. Dade, apparently you're still live over there, and nobody's home. Uh,
Say what?
one of the guys in chat, Dade, has a channel, and I guess he was streaming and ended the stream, but didn't close it out or something, and it's
Yeah,
still live. Somebody was telling him in chat, and I was just letting him know. But no, I mean I agree with you, and I think that really often, and that's kind of the angle I took with Kent was that um, okay, fine. You want to say, like, you want to deny evolution? I'll give it to you. It's false. All this stuff, science is full of shit and all of it's wrong. Now, why should we believe the narrative that you're putting forward? And you coming and arguing about science does nothing for that.
yeah,
And that's usually the angle that I actually take on those things,
yeah,
and what I like to do. And also, it's not about like I'm not an expert in anything, first of all. So like I'm just some dummy from Kentucky that is interested in atheism and activism, and that's it. So whenever they come with these science things, for me, I'm not going to pretend to be like your. It's not my job to teach you. So
yeah,
so I do it from like a ridicule type thing, like how silly. My whole point is to show the absurdity and to show
yeah,
it to their audience. That's
yeah.
the only reason that I engage in that at all. And one of the times I debated Kent was just to promote the arc and counter protest that we were doing. But yeah, it's not very valuable.
Yeah.
It's just
But it and I
spectacle.
so it just we're having a conversation. I don't mean to be disrespectful to um, people who are debating and who are engaging. I think that the important thing is to be present. And if Christianity was benign, we wouldn't need to be present. But because it's so damaging and so dangerous,
Yeah,
if you have a sense of I don't know, a sense of morality or ethics, it's hard not to point it out. It's
yeah.
hard not to engage.
I felt really pushed into because of the Christian nationalist movement and
Yeah,
the kind of blurring of politics and religion. I
yeah,
felt really pushed into talking a lot about that. And one of my like the most viewed show on my channel now is a political show I do with Robin Webster, who was in chat a minute ago. I don't know if she still is, but we talk a lot about that, and we spend a lot of times because it's directly like they want to silence atheists and censor us and
yeah.
you know,
That's the kindest thing
yeah,
you want.
yeah, that's just the beginning.
That's why my name is Barabbas Jones.
Yeah, yeah, I like the Barabbas. That's a good one. But it's I've felt like that. It's not that I wanted to be political. It's just that when doing this, and my focus is usually like the atheist community itself. My thing has been like exposing harm. I've showed a lot of grifts of televangelists and done a lot of different things like that, and we're going to be exposing all kinds of fraud and crimes of World Harvest Church Monday. But Like that's kind of been what I've done with it. But the
So sorry to interrupt. What happens on Monday? You gonna like drive a four-wheel drive 1972 Dodge pickup through their door?
no, it's much better than that. So I have another lady
Just for
named
the record, I didn't really think you're gonna drive a 1972 four-wheel drive Dodge pickup through the door.
no, I got the joke.
All right.
um, the I'm going to have another lady named Robin, who was the human resources
My God, how
director.
many women named Robin do you
I,
have?
I keep several Robins.
Right.
The But she is actually a Christian and the former HR director of World Harvest Church, and
Oh, nice.
she
I
left
mean,
because of a lot of
maybe.
the things. And we have receipts for tax fraud and other kinds of fraud, organized crime, sexual misconduct. Um, there's we have the evidence of those things as well, and we're gonna talk about Rod Parsley, the pastor and televangelist for World Harvest Church, and how he's got half a century of fraud and lies, and um, just how bad the place is, and it's really bad. And I've not even heard anyone ever speak about really World Harvest Church and what they do, other than this lady Robin that's coming on. She has a channel as well, just for the last year, where she's been talking a lot about that, and she has a lot of those receipts and stuff from where she worked there, and people she knows, and people who have worked there come on and talk to her and stuff. And so we're going to go through a lot of that awful stuff. And I also have a personal tie to the one of the bishops from World Harvest Church, who I went to high school with and was fired for sexual misconduct, and then immediately rehired as the dean of students for their accredited college.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, it's a little bit off topic, and but it just is astounding uh, how much cover Christianity gives to. So first of all, I want to recognize that pedophiles are sick people,
yeah,
and I don't want to say there's something inherent about Christianity, but there is something inherent about a structure that facilitates that provides cover clearly for pedophiles and for sexual abuse, etc. And having said that, there's really that Bible, yeah, a lot of sexual abuse going on there, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and
It's
there's no direct abuse, by Jesus per se, but there is, tremendous misogyny and tremendous, like when he talks about how Jerusalem is going to be destroyed, which it was 70 years later, conveniently when when that part of when the Gospels were written. And he says, "Oh, Jerusalem, you're going to suffer so badly. Your women will cry out and wish they'd never had children." And it's like he singles out women and children for special attention relative to the horror that is going to come. And the important thing to get out of this story is, why is this horror? Why is this horrific attack where women will, wish they'd never had children, wish they'd never been born? The punishment will be so horrible because Jerusalem didn't recognize Jesus as divine, so they're going to be punished. And again, it's like, okay, what? 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 To me, it's just so much worse than if you believe that this is the testament of a deity, of an all powerful deity, the New Testament is a million times worse than the Old Testament. Because the worst thing that happened in the Old Testament is you died. The worst thing that happens now is you're punished for all eternity. All eternity.
Yeah, you see that evolution of what kind of punishment can we threaten people with to make them follow this, because and I think that that's a direct result of the Jews not accepting Jesus as the Messiah. um the and I think a really funny point there is that in order for Christianity to be true, or for Islam to be true, Judaism has to be true,
Yeah.
right? And but Judaism doesn't accept any of that, and it's the
Oh,
source that they use, but denies that they're about anything. Yet it became this huge following anyway.
yeah. Well, a huge following, because of atrocities, wars,
Oh yeah.
etc. Not because of any great thing, and more Christians killing other Christians. I was going to say something truly. Um, yeah, and I think that if the fallout, for example, if Trump and the Republicans and the Christian nationalists were able to retain power, it's only a matter of time before they'd start attacking each other, uh, which is usually what happens in social movements that are successful. You can have a coalition to a point of getting power, but then once you're in power, there's going to be that potential infighting, which would just be a shame because I think President Trump is just doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
He's
might laugh, but if somebody reviews this and we're like sitting in detention together, go like, "See, he laughed. He laughed."
I see your buddy back there.
Yeah, this is Asher.
Asher. Uh-huh.
Come here, Asher. Come here. Come here. Can you see him?
Yeah. Let's see. There he is. Hi, Asher.
He's chilling. We're
Yeah.
chilling. We're in the safety of well, hopefully the safety of California.
Right. Yeah.
It
I
feels a
mean
lot
that's
safer than being in Indiana at the moment, but we'll see.
yeah. Indiana's been off the hook here lately. The uh yeah. I mean there's a lot to that as far as what's going on now with all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know what to. There's it's just so much at once, and now we've got this whole like Epstein file thing going on and all that. The whole political scene is kind of fucked right now. But
Yeah,
I mean, it kind of matches though. That's what happens whenever you let Christian nationalists take over the government. Shit gets crazy.
yeah. And when you have essentially a guiding document, the Bible, which is just full of punish the child. Jesus throws a hissy fit because the Pharisees aren't. I'm sorry. He basically throws a hissy fit over everything, but one of the things he throws a hissy fit over is that the Pharisees aren't being strict enough relative to children disobeying their parents. It's like oh my goodness, it's so annoying. He's just constantly cadging free meals, and then he doesn't wash his hands. So, it's the Middle East, it's dusty. I mean, I think it's great in first century, wherever this is, Judea, Israel, etc., that there's a cultural thing about washing your hands. He just he just refuses to wash his hands. So it's just like, oh well, I don't wash my hands, but you don't kill people, you don't kill children who are disobedient to their parents.
Right.
It's like he's just batshit crazy, and that's
Yeah.
not me saying it. His family says it. His followers say it. He's just at times he's comes very close to being stoned, and not in a good way, because people are basically saying you're blaspheming, the Jewish religion because you're claiming to be God. You're claiming to be having known Moses and Jacob and those other patriarch psycho what I want to say, sociopath or psychopaths. Let's go with both.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that I just I'm trying to be objective, but it's particularly after reading the Gospels and reading this book, I just don't see anything. I don't see anything positive about Christianity. And people will say, well, what about forgiveness? Okay, except it's not about. First of all, forgiveness for what? The core thing about Christianity is we're supposed to ask for forgiveness to a God that created us sinful. As what? I mean, everything is just should be like what? What?
Yeah, the
What?
triomni God kind of contradicts all of those things. Like God creates this problem, creates this problem, and then but is the answer to the problem,
Yeah,
and that goes on throughout the and I think that I think that you talk about it a lot, and I think it's one of the things that I've brought up before whenever I've talked about the resurrection and the Gospels and all that. That um, you really have to take into account what's going on politically in that area at the time, where
Yeah,
yeah, and they're being occupied by the Romans, and they're crucifying people left and right in the street and everywhere. They've got people on being crucified, just left to hang for people to see, and the Jewish people are essentially enslaved at this point. They're and so this Jesus figure. Um, he does all these things, and all the good stuff is always when I come back, and I'll be back to do these good things.
yeah,
But I think that, like, and I've talked to Dr. Kip Davis a little bit about this. He's a Red Sea Scrolls expert, but um, he, talks a little bit about the Bible and stuff. But like the occupation at the time really paints the picture of why Jesus is coming back as this person to lead them into war, and to deliver them from the occupation of the Romans. And
yeah.
so, but that's not how Christianity is viewed or practiced, and that part's never talked about. And
Well, and that's one of the strengths is that he's apolitical. So it's hard to take him. And Christians do. I personally don't understand it, but obviously people are inspired somehow by his example to do good work. To feed the poor, work with the sick, etc. But again, you read the Gospels, he's not going out of his way to do that himself, and certainly not going out of his way to tell people to do it. And if he does go out of his way to tell people to do it, it's so that they'll know that he's God.
yeah,
That's the message.
yeah,
Believe in me and go to heaven, or not and go to hell. So I just don't. Um, I'm really intrigued. I would like to have a respectful conversation with someone who is a devout Christian who's dedicated their life to service based on Jesus, because I just don't see it. But again, there's this tradition, and I guess that's a good tradition if you can swallow the manifest horror of Christianity as as an entity that's existed now for an extreme.
too, that like there's this thing Christianity, and we look at it and say, well, it's a religion and they believe these silly things. But the truth of the matter is that whenever you look at Christianity, and I'll say, if I don't feel like I could show that Christianity isn't true specifically, even though I would say proving a God
Wait,
wrong.
wait! You don't believe in Christianity?
No,
Oh,
the Southern Baptist people that raised me just
you should have said that at the beginning. I would have changed. We would have a
yeah,
entirely different conversation.
not having it. the But if it turns out that Christianity isn't true, it's the most evil, awful thing that man has done to fellow man in the history of humans. Like it's
Yeah,
we have, you take into account the Crusades and the Inquisitions, and even today the way that Christian nationalists are behaving and stuff, and the wars and all that other stuff. Like, you look at all the lives taken in the name of God and stuff, and if it turns out that those things aren't true, then man has done some really awful things to each other for no reason at all.
yeah. Which is similar to people's view of the United States. This controversy we have that like history. White people will be offended if we teach history accurately. It's like,
Oh yeah,
okay, but it doesn't change the fact that we have this history. Just like it doesn't change the fact of Christianity's primary role in that history.
yeah.
To me, it's inspiring that we can change. And I
That's what I
think
say. Yeah.
I think the story of America. I'm not the biggest fan, but I think I'm just flabbergasted that any in the political situation we have now, that there was ever any positive thing. Like, how in the world did the 13th, 14th, and 15th 15th Amendments get passed? How did the
Right.
Civil Rights Act get passed? How did we do so much to eliminate so many of the problems? And of course, now, the flip side is, we're
See,
struggling with people who want that flip side back because they felt they had more power.
yeah, I think when you tell the story from the point of view of here's America, we're great and we've always been great, and leave out all that history and stuff, and just paint it as white people are just perfect and America's always been this shining beacon on the hill thing. But like, um, I think that whenever we talk about like slavery and our Civil War and our Revolutionary War specifically, that our ability to endure and at least try to overcome these things and do better, it is so much of a better story,
Yeah.
and they want to get rid of those things, and it's like, why? That's crazy. Like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, and the framing is always that, we're so I don't want to get, too bogged down because it's a lot of a lot of booby traps.
Right? Yeah, there's a lot there.
But the narrative is that uh, again, big broad brushstrokes. People on the left, hate America because they're always talking about the negative things, and it's like, okay, but there are negative things, but the positive things are that we've overcome them. You know,
Yes.
and we have the capacity right now to eliminate them
Yeah.
largely.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we don't have the political and we have the opportunity with the existing political system. There's nothing stopping, you know, the other 50% of the country from demanding that we have all the things that we think are endemic to a decent life, decent
Yeah.
education, access to healthcare, housing, no one should be hungry, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. I,
Jesus was fine with he wasn't going to go hungry, but he didn't have any problem with anybody else being hungry, or at
right.
least he didn't present himself saying he had any problem with it.
Right. Yeah. No. He. Yeah. No. I agree. It goes back to that, and you see the reflection of that in Christianity today. It's like us, we, and if you say otherwise, we're being persecuted, and they pretend like, oh, we love everybody because it's the way that Jesus was and stuff. But then they do the same thing. They say the words, but then they behave in a way that is shitty towards everybody. Like
Yeah, but,
it's
but but I think if you read whether it's the Gospels or the Bible in general, the admonishments are how Christians should treat other Christians. It's not about how Christians should treat everybody.
right,
So again, it's rules for the club, not rules for people who aren't in the club and who are
right.
prohibited from being in the club. You know,
Yeah, yeah. You
I
you
mean,
know,
slavery. The fact that black people could be slaves was based on the fact initially that they couldn't be Christians because they were black, so they might as well be slaves. Um, but again, this is 2025. We like to think we're past all that and can move forward. And Christianity, big statement, is the one thing dragging us back. I mean, sure, there might be some Trump and MAGA folks who aren't Christians, but I would think very, very few. Um, and regardless, it's clearly a Christian nationalist administration platform, way of doing things, and it's disgusting. And that's
yeah,
the thing. It's like if you really want to show that Christianity is some positive force, boy, you're just showing it as the most ugly, racist, demeaning, mean spirited,
yeah,
just terrible, terrible thing that you use to justify these actions.
yeah,
And but hey, here we are. What are you going to do? It's been going on for a while, and I think as
yeah,
atheists, we just have to do our best to be objective and honest, and ideally be better. It's not hard. Be better than the other side.
yeah. 100%. And I think that's a perfect place to land the plane here and wrap it up. So I agree 100% with that sentiment. The we just have to do better and be the opposite in many ways of what that is. And I think for a lot of us, we've experienced that religious trauma and stuff that goes on far too often. And
Yeah,
it's I'm glad that we're able to do things like this and have places where we can talk and friendly places to support each other, and that's why I love to do things like share books and stuff with the community, because
yeah,
I think it encourages that.
yeah. Well, I really appreciate you inviting me on, and I appreciate that you had some good insights relative to the book and that you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And again, if anyone would like a $5 copy, the website is, I think it's www dot. Sometimes it's that other weird thing, but if you just type in all one word, the case against Jesus.com, it'll come up. There's only, I think, one or two pages on the site, one of which is to buy the book for online for $5.
yeah.
And I
I
appreciate what
put
it means you're going to do to spread it, so to speak.
Oh yeah, no, and I really do hope to the audience. I really do hope that several of you read this book, and if you're interested and you can't buy a copy, or you just want to try it out or whatever, give me a shout out there, and again, I will try to get as many copies as I can. I obviously can't give one to everybody, but there's been a few people already that I called out in chat there that, yeah, I'll get your guys' copies. Deviant, I'll be sending you a physical copy of a couple books to the Netherlands. But if there's clickable links going on there that you can go and check it out, and the book is available, in places where you buy books. Here's the Amazon listing for it. You can get it there. But again, as Barabbas told us there's you can click that link and go over to his site and get a digital copy for $5, and it's a really great read, and I encourage as
It's
many
also
of you to.
it's also, sorry to interrupt, but it's also short. It's only 43,000 words total. And again, a lot of it is, and I tried to limit it, but I think what makes the book effective is that I actually put the Bible quotes in, which kind of tedious in places, but you can skim the Bible verses. I think the commentary, as Joe suggested, at least in parts, is funny. It's meant to be. It just it's like, what are you gonna do? The guy is just like he's just it's just so pathetic. He's just such a punching bag. Um, he just reminds me of Trump a lot. Uh, same
Yeah,
same entitlement, same hissy fits, same demanding to recognize his greatness, etc., etc. So maybe he is the reincarnation of old
yeah,
oily Josh. They behave
yeah,
a lot the
yeah.
same.
Uh, Deviant Outcast says this was a really interesting, fun, and enjoyable stream. Thanks to you, Joe, but first and foremost, thank you, Barabbas, for coming here and sharing.
All
And
right, and that's the how do you say?
Deviant Outcast.
Oh, Deviant Outcast. Okay, I was trying to go Deviant.
Yeah, yeah.
Deviant
She's actually,
Outcast.
I've
All
had
right.
her on. She's an Egyptologist and has a lot of great stuff. And I've had her on. We've had a lot of discussions. A good friend of the channel and member and all that stuff. So,
And
but and
Egyptology.
I agree with her sentiment though. I really appreciate you. First of all, sharing your book with me and letting me do this, because it was a really good read. And I would get to parts and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to take a little break here in a few minutes when after I finish this, and I would get there and I'd be like, no, I want to read what he has to say about this
Oh,
verse, because it was really good and it's funny. You'll laugh.
and I think that that's to my horn too much, but it's very readable. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's just it's an easy read. It doesn't get bogged down in any kind of divinity, or it's just basically just it's a little bit, I think, not to suggest I'm as funny as Stephen Colbert or Kimmel, but like they, like they comment on the day's news and
Yeah.
make fun of it, and that's all I do. I comment on Jesus and make fun of him
Yeah.
because he deserves it. Because again, the narrative, it's just even like talking about it's hard to take it seriously.
Yeah.
It's like we're talking about the like a children's book, and like going into great seriousness about it. It's just astounding. Or just read, again, preferably whatever you're comfortable with to get yourself into the mood for it. But you just read the gospel again, read the gospels completely objectively, and they're just funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
sorry,
When
they're funny to a degree, but also it's astounding what an asshole he is, which isn't funny.
yeah.
But it's funny where he goes like he demands. Like one scene is where I believe it's the gentleman that he cured blindness by smearing dirt and saliva together. I'm surprised he didn't whack in some urine, but anyway, probably did in an earlier translation. But
Yeah. That
he
that
meets this
works too.
guy. He meets this guy later on the street. He says, "Oh," and the guy's like, "Oh, thank you so much for healing me." And Jesus says, "Oh, if you believe in the Son of Man or the Son of God," another annoying thing. This third person reference, Son of Man, Son of God. What, like, just what is your name? And
Yeah.
just heal this guy. He sees so excited, I'm spitting all over. It's like Barney Fife when people won't recognize that he's like they don't take him seriously as a law enforcement officer. So then he always like get his bullet out and like start, oh, I am. The same thing with Jesus, just like
Yeah.
you don't believe I'm the son of God. You don't believe I have all this power. You don't have faith. Well, I'm not gonna heal your leprosy, and,
Yeah.
and you're gonna go to hell.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that yeah, I think that paints the picture perfectly. He was, and I like your take that he's like a 4-year-old and at times throws hissy fits and just behaves awful. I agree completely. Um, but
So
so
yeah, I know we got to
go
wrap up. I just want to say I have not set up anything because I really hate them all. But hopefully, I'll do Facebook in the not too distant future. But for right now, if anyone wants to contact me, they can do it through the website. Or my email is jonesbarabbas@gmail.com.
Okay, great. And yeah, that the website link is still going through chat there, the caseagainstjesus.com. You can go over there. The That's, I appreciate everybody coming and showing interest in this, and thank you guys for watching, and I hope anybody that new came in did the whole pushing button thing and whatever. But the coming up next, stay tuned, everybody. Monday, we got Robin from the former HR director of World Harvest Church will be here. We're going to talk about that, the crimes and the fraud and the harm and all that stuff. And now, next Thursday, for those of you that watch the political show, we will be on at the same time. Robin and I will, but it'll be part of the Christmas marathon. We'll be on at the same day and time, but we're doing that, so we're not going to talk politics. We're going to make it an open thing for the atheist community to come in, hang out, and whatever. And we've got some stories we're going to tell, and some people that are going to come in and visit. Some special guests and stuff. So come hang out with us for that. I'm sure everybody will be around for the Christmas marathon anyway. But I want y'all to know I really appreciate you, and I hope that you guys read this book. I really do. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to play the our little holiday whatever it is clip thing that we've got here for you guys, and that'll be the end. So catch us Monday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. Thank you.
World Harvest Church is going down.
Yeah.